Update!
And it's been another week. Today I want to explain to you why I like horror movies so much. Because there's going to be a horror movie coming up on this channel this week. And so before I do that, I know many of you do not care about horror movies, which is fine, but I thought I would take the time to explain all of the reasons why I do love them. And I'm going to do it concisely. I'm going to try and make it quick and to the point. Of all the genres of movies, horror movies are the underdog, okay? They are the black sheep of the family. The rest of the movie industry kind of is like, oh yeah, those make a lot of money. Those make a lot of money, so we do acknowledge that they are a thing, but they can sit over at that. We have the kids' table over here, Big Hollywood at the big table over here. We have indies and docs over here. And then in the corner, alone at the bar, is the horror film industry. And they are kind of kicking back and having a good time, making a lot of money, while everybody else gets the respect. And so horror fans have to always constantly be explaining themselves what they like about horror movies. The way most of us say it is that it's like a roller coaster, you know? It's like in the amusement park of the film industry, horror films are the roller coasters. We just like a thrill. People play it off that way and everyone's like, oh, okay, I can understand that, you know, like a roller coaster. Yeah, sure, people like those. It's experiencing fear in a controlled environment. It's less scary than horror video games, because in horror video games you're actually responsible for dealing with the thing that's coming at you. In horror movies, you can vicariously experience the fear of something coming at you, knowing that you are actually safe, alright? You're gonna be fine. See, it's about survival. It's not about watching horrible things happen to people. It's not about watching people get killed. Like, why do you want to sit around and watch people get killed? I don't. Well, no, that's not true. Horror fans do kind of get a thing where, like, there's that little bit of car wreck curiosity to how they're going to off these random characters. But ultimately, it's about watching someone survive. Usually it's the final girl, but it's about watching somebody deal with something way beyond what they should be capable of dealing with and surviving. Coming out on top. And you feel that, too. You feel that survival. At least that's for good horror movies. When you actually care about the characters, which are actually kind of few and far between. That's a separate conversation. And maybe you hate it. Maybe some people actually do hate it. But a lot of people love that sudden adrenaline burst of the jump scare. I did it a couple updates ago in talking about YouTube.
Because oh, China! Jesus, grow! Are you kidding me?
Sorry. Said in the comments, like, I jumped, you know, and then I laughed and everything. And China herself was scared, because as soon as she pulled that trigger, I screamed. And you see her, she legitimately jump scares, and her reaction is to laugh, to enjoy it. It's that thing, that unexpected thing, and it's a release. It's a relief. Alright? Many of us, not everybody in the world, but people such as myself, who live calm, sedate, suburban lives, which I enjoy. I like having that. I'm very lucky to enjoy a life like that. But I want to feel adrenaline, fear, tension, all those things. And this is my outlet for feeling them. I'm going to try and relate what I like to you about horror movies themselves through the use of some movies that everybody actually likes, but that are actually horror movies, or use the same conventions as horror movies. But after a certain amount of success or accolades happens to them, they get pulled into the thriller or the suspense category. That the industry at large can be like, oh yes, we enjoyed this suspense movie. They can't enjoy a horror movie, or else there's something wrong with them, right? No, not true. Jaws. You like Jaws? That's a monster movie. What about Jurassic Park? Okay? Steven Spielberg makes a mean horror movie, alright? Again, Steven Spielberg's horror movies are adventures, okay? They're adventure films. Break down Jurassic Park. It has a classic horror structure, alright? First you establish that there's something that will easily destroy a human being. First scene, right off the bat, lets you know what the danger is. Then, you get to know your characters. You actually feel things for them. You enjoy them. You care about them. Then, you let the danger loose, and they must deal with it. Then there are scenes of prolonged suspense. There are jump scares. Don't tell me the scene in the kitchen with the two kids being stalked by the monsters is not a horror movie scene. That is a horror movie scene, man. That is not adventure on their faces. That is horror and terror, okay? Near misses, another horror convention. Near misses are in there. Prolonged suspense, jump scares galore. That flick is a horror movie. It's called an adventure movie, and it's a really good one. That's a horror flick. If you like Jurassic Park, then you already like all the things that I like about horror movies. That whole surviving something instinct, you get that with action movies. Professionals are dealing with it in action movies. Secret agents, cops, you know, people who have been trained to handle danger, dealing with danger. That's an action movie. normal, everyday people who have danger targeting them seemingly at random, that's a horror movie. So it's the difference between being able to deal with it, or being trained to deal with it, and having to deal with it out of nowhere. If you've followed the channel, the Pineapple Boy Films channel, for a while, you know that I clearly enjoy horror movies. I do the night marathon every year, or I have 2 years in a row, and I hope to make it an every year occurrence. But I also like them for what they mean to the industry. So many directors got their start in the horror industry. Actors. Why? Because horror is the only genre that can get funded without any name stars at all. Because people go to horror movies to be scared, to see the monster, to see the kills, to see the survives. And they don't care who's starring in it. Sometimes they do, sometimes, like, you get a Naomi Watts in The Ring, or you get, like, a, you know, Lily Taylor. I don't know how many people that went to see The Conjuring know who Lily Taylor is. Anybody could have been in that part. She was great in that part. But anybody could have been in that part, and if people were like, oh, The Conjuring's really scary, still would have done the box office it did. To market a horror movie, it doesn't matter if it's well done, alright? It just has to be scary, and people will show up. There are people who actually make really good horror movies. I think James Wan horror movies are really good. I love John Carpenter, Wes Craven, of course, which is why there's a horror movie going to be on the channel this week, is for a contest that Wes Craven is judging. Make a horror movie in 30 seconds. And I just think that sounds fun. Carlin and Ryan and I, Carlin's boyfriend and Eliza, are just going to make this quick 30-second horror movie. I just want Wes Craven to point his eyes at something that I made. That would make me so happy. But it is the gateway for so many talented people to make their way into the industry. If you get success in a horror movie, you get to try your hand at other genres, or you get more movies and you can continue to build your reputation. And I love seeing truly talented people try to inject so much energy and pride into schlock. It is the greatest. Like, if you watch cheap-ass, like, Roger Corman horror movies, where Jack Nicholson got his start, and you watch people trying to make a good movie out of something that is just a series of buzzwords and scare tactics. They are the ultimate money grab genre. If you have nothing else on the burner, you'd be like, well, let's make a horror movie, and somebody will watch that, you know? And that somebody is the horror audience. We watch the bad with the good. We do. We can enjoy a really bad movie. Somehow, the very fact that it is a money grab is entertaining in itself. It's just great to get in a room of horror fans and watch a good horror movie or a bad horror movie. The good horror movies are silent, watching with rapt attention, and the bad horror movies are raucous, good times. It's like a carnival, man. The bad acting becomes fun to mirror and mock. Cheesy effects make it groan-worthy, and that is a fun time. It's a culture. It's just a good time. That's why when I say horror movies are fun, that's what I mean. It's all of those things. Other things to look out for. I've been working on a project with Craig, which should go up in the next day or two. Presumably you're already subscribed to Wheezy Waiter, but if you are not, subscribe to Wheezy Waiter right now. There's a link to his channel right below, because you need to see this video that's coming out. I love it. I've seen it, I collaborated with him on it, and I just think it's so much fun. And it's coming out very soon. So subscribe if you haven't. If you have, be on the lookout for it. Should be in the next couple days. Gonna be awesome. Thank you so much for listening to me blather on about this topic, about which I clearly care about a lot. Many of you probably do not, and that is fine. This week, actually, tell me, do you like horror movies? Do you not like horror movies? Have you seen any horror movies? What was the horror movie that turned you off horror movies, and why don't you like them? I assume you just don't like to be scared. That's fine. Or maybe you don't like the gore element of it. Horror movies got really gory and less scary for a time in the aughts there. And I think we're coming back around to scariness, which is great. Let me know your opinions on horror in the comments below. That was a Ray William Johnson thing. Did it with my voice, though, not with effects. You guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in. That's the Pops logo, even though this was very, very light on the Pops update. That's what this channel's gonna be, whatever I want it to be from now on. You guys said it was okay. Do you wish you didn't now? It's okay to be honest. I'll see you in a week.